Let's go switch to the B camera. All right, hello everybody. It is I, Roguescaper, doing some live unboxing. Surely the first person to have a chance to open these out of all Heroscape content creators, I'm sure. This is going to be more just a quick run through, seeing what we have. We have pretty much the full lot, so kindly given to me by Renegade. So I'm going to go in through this real fast. I will be taking this footage as well as other footage, and I'll be turning this into a more refined review that I usually do with the close-ups and the turnarounds and my perspective. But today, I am too impatient to wait, and I wanted to open these. And so we're just gonna dive in without much more ado. I hope everyone's doing well today. So starting off, we have the G.I. Joe Strike Forces box. Got lots of fun little guys in it. First off, I just want to say I really love the artwork on at least this. I wish Scape could kind of have this quality of art. All the characters and all the design looks really great. I love that we have gradually shifted away from purple. Now, I don't hate the color purple, but I like blues and greens a whole lot more. So I'm happy on a visual side of things just to transition colors a bit. Welcome Justin, welcome Vin of Harvest. Yeah, let's just stall for time as I figured myself out here. All right, this is the unpainted Strike Forces box. They do come in painted and unpainted, of course. So this is the unpainted. That's where I'll be spending most of my time with. I'm going to create an absolute mess today. To see me at my chaotic best. So this comes with the bespoke zipline glyphs, which are always a nice little fun thing to have. Fight them for freedom over land and sea and air. G.I. Joe is here. G.I. Joe. Well, looks like my mom's phone. Very readable. Never a bad thing. I think it's just a little bit jarring because it is so different. But good art. At least it has art. I will give it that. The color red of the glyph feels a few shades off, which is really inconsequential, I'd say. But let's just bump up the ISO a bit. There we go. I don't have one on hand to compare, but it just seems slightly redder. Minor nitpick here. We have the cards. Welcome Tails, by the way. I'm hoping you get your stuff in the mail pretty soon here. Let's go through these real fast just from our surface level. Again, I'm going to be doing a lot more in-depth review of these units once I have a time to parse them over. I'm going to say the card stock feels very good. I don't know if it was declining in the last few waves, but this feels nice and hardy. Almost feels a bit thicker and hardier than previous releases. I really like the blue and green of the G.I. Joe cards. I do feel like Cobra is a bit too similar to Utgar, but not different enough to really matter. Jinx and Kamakura. I play these guys at Sascon. They're really fun, if not a bit tricky to coordinate. I think they need a bit more utility to kind of figure out their best ninja synergies, but as more and more ninjas seem to be releasing, I think they'll be a mainstay. And also good defense, multiple lives. They could honestly just slot into your army even if you don't have other ninjas. Lady J, I think this is the most fun unit from the set here. As we zip out of focus. I think there's a bunch of wonky things you could do with zipline glyphs. I really think my crazy idea is to build an impossibly tall crab top tower, put zipline on top of it, and then just have people go up and down an impossibly tall crab tower. But I think she's probably just a good 60-point filler. She has some unique tech. It's tough when you have, I love that I was going to say it's tough when you have glyphs not as a card, but here they have it. That's a really great ad. I think one of the reasons Zenithrax is hard to use is because you don't have that Fine Glyph card. And we have Crimson Twins. These guys are really interesting, can turn people to Cobra. And Baroness, I'm going to be using her mainly to move my buddy SI4X around. I think she's pretty good, but she's pretty, I think, appropriately costed. But range 7, attack 4 can really, watch out king builds. This can really cause a problem. Okay, here are the figures themselves. I really love the detailing on these a whole lot more than I think I will the pre-painted model. You're just going to see a lot of the fun little stories and details. I love that they have the emblems. We're not wanting to focus today. There we go. I think I have to change my focus real fast because I think it's wanting to focus on gotta change your zone. All right, so unprofessional. What kind of operation am I running here? There we go. All right, so we have these guys right here, very great pair. I love that their unique life pool mechanic is it's just fun. I think G.I. Joe was a chance to include a lot of very different abilities and make them fun and thematic. So really cool sculpts. Let's see here. Am I missing a card? Oh wait, no, he was hiding. This is Jinxon. I never realized he had a like a chain whip type of deal. His art kind of makes it look more like just two sides, so he threw me off for a second here. That's Kamakura right there. I really like this model, better even than the card art. This is a really fun model. I'll have a lot of fun time painting this one, just because I think it's the most dynamic pose we've seen so far. Twins look good. Love the sculpted Cobra. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I think Baroness is probably the least interesting of the bunch. She has a pretty static pose. I never like when figures are crouching, even if it's thematic. I mean, it makes sense. It's just, I'm probably the least excited to paint this one. There's not much you can do here. And Lady J, I do appreciate that she's in the Master of the Hunt pose. That's kind of a fun posing here. I don't know how they feel compared to Classic Scape. For some reason, maybe it's just me, it feels like the legs are like just a tad bit too long, but maybe that's just because I don't know what human legs look like. But it feels like they're just slightly longer than the standard Scape. But maybe that's just my initial perception. I have a drone on hand here. But drones aren't like people. They seem a little bit taller, I think, by a small marginal quality. Okay, so we got these here. I really like this set. I think if you're just wanting to dip your toes in the Joe and just get a wide variety of things, this is a tough set just to recommend as a standalone, though, just because like Jinx and Kamakura don't have any bonding in the set, but everyone else is pretty standalone, which is nice. Okay, just in no particular order. Let's do the colored version actually in a particular order, just to compare and contrast. The reason I mainly do these things largely edited because I am prone to rambling and losing my train of thought. But like I said, I was too excited not to have this. I mentioned in the chat, but I am not like a G.I. Joe fan. I know almost next to nothing about the IP. My dad's really excited about it. We're going to be getting some games in, maybe even film some of those. Let's see if we can zoom this in just for a bit more better detailing here. All right, so we have the Baroness. Yeah, she's okay. Like I said, not a very interesting pose. I think the coloring application is pretty decent. I mean, she has a little bit on her lips, just a sloppy lipstick kind of day. But I mean, we all have those. I think an important thing to remember about the eyes and all that kind of stuff is that you're seeing these, you know, from down here. Most people aren't going up into the macro lens and you know, trying to get that detail going. For the most part, my eyes are looking fairly decent. I'm not complaining about these, but these guys have really fun colors. Blue and red is always a nice color palette to work with, just because of their contrasting nature. The bases, I will admit, feel like classic Heroscape bases. This is so nice. No warping, no bending. They even have like the engraved. This is nice. The bases feel so nice. Yeah, that's a huge step up in quality right there. The bases I can't bend. They're not the same material. And also that probably means that if you want to take them off, they're probably two separate parts now. So that might make breaking them off their original base, if you want to put stickers on top of these, even better. Because I tried to do that with the classic units, and it was just kind of, I mean, not the classic, but the Age Annihilation units, and it was always tough because they're melded as one mold. We have the Ninja. This is such a cool pose. I really appreciate this model. If you want this to really pop, just put a thin black wash over it, and it will look really, really nice. No, this is probably my favorite model I've seen. I never really paid much attention to it, but just you have the dynamic angle, you have the flowing scarves, you have the cool pose. Yeah, I am a huge fan of that model. Lady J. You know what? Same pose as one of the gallery, actually, now that I look at it, which is fine. Probably not the best paint job. I don't know how I feel about painted lips. I typically don't do that. I just skip doing that. But they even got the nice little detailing on the belt buckle. Yeah, this is pretty nice to just see. I think both options are good. I think if you just want to get some pre-painted scape and jump it right into it, this will be perfectly acceptable for you. No, these feel nice. They feel just more solid than previous iterations. The applications are really nice and really clean. All the colors is where it's supposed to be. Yeah, they've definitely upped their pre-painted game, and of course I am happy by that. Okay, what should I do next here? Let's just grab something. I have too many boxes. Let's go to Serpentor. Single box. Just the sound of, I can just do a little ASMR. The sound of the escape being opened up is quite pleasant and relaxing. All right, so we have Serpentor. He is a really cool bigger. He is quite tall. I don't know if canonically he is supposed to be taller than standard. But again, very good application. Skin looks pretty acceptable. They even have the various parts on the belly and the scales separated. Overall, a very, very nicely painted model. It's nice the fangs cover the eyes. You can't see those. Again, just a thin black wash over this will really make this feel more classic. But honestly, it's great as is. Here's the box art. I really just, I appreciate it. He's a funny little guy. I might repaint him just to be more of a higher quality paint job. But really, if someone put this on the battlefield, there's no shame in that there. It's a fun model. Again, kind of that striking forward with an arm raised is very similar to almost like a Cyprin. Very Cyprin in nature. I always love flowing capes. Are always very nice details on models. He's a cool figure. In terms of powers, I really like him because he is just a strong beat stick. Yeah, he's tall. He's genetically created. Genetically created from Napoleon Dynamite, Bonaparte, short person. He's not actually that short, canonically, but that makes sense. Cap is taller than the average person. So yeah, double attack is always nice. More heroes need to have that or have some way of multi-attacking. Single attacking heroes are always tough. 4, 4, 6 are just great stats to have. And he's 6 move. I didn't realize that. He's fast. He's a beat stick. He bonds with Cobras. He bonds with Romans. He has the I'll do it myself power, so you can have some of that flexibility. which is nice. So you don't even have to put him in like bonding builds. If you just want him as like a can opener beat stick, he can serve that role as well. And subtracting 1 from defense just for every figure, even if you're friendly, is tough. Makes them hard to use with the Cobras, but I'm trying to think if there's any unit you would want your defense to be lowered by. None I can think of. Maybe in a weird way with no, not repulsors, because they want to defend. Something that, yeah, I don't think there's a lot of mechanics out there for wanting to fail a defensive role. All right, got another big hefty box here. Let's dive into the premium. I might have to zoom out a bit here. It's so big. The battle box. This art is really nice. It's dynamic. This is what I'm hoping the Secrets of the Citadel. Oh wait, we already have the box arts revealed. But I love dynamic art like this. I hope Age of Annihilation has a box redesign, because I never liked that original art. But you see all the characters. I see this on the game store shelf. I'm saying, hey, what's going on here? I want to test it out. I wonder if we'll ever get like this kind of terrain with the cyropods, or whatever those are. That would be pretty nice. Yeah, this art is really nice. You can tell that they just took a lot of time caring about this. Again, good stuff here. Battle box time. Yeah, I'm excited about this one. If I can just find where they put the opening at. The hardest part about box opening is opening the box, of course. Slide it out, very nicely packed. Oh, I forgot this contained the battle walls. That's nice. Okay, so we have this as terrain pieces. I think if you do like a pen wash or an oil wash on these, they'll be even more prominent. It's tough that they're kind of like this dull gray. I wish it was like a couple of shades darker. I do like how they're like classic ruins, how the connecting points are built in. It's kind of tough with I love the larvals, but they are tough to, sometimes I don't use them just because I want to find all the pieces. Oh yes, that fits very nice. That's a very satisfying fit right there. This is a line of sight blocker that just genuinely blocks line of sight. Like, you know, compare this to a tree. Even more so than like a ruin, because he has a bit of extra height and angularity to it, so you can even kind of be like right here on the edge and still block line of sight from certain angles. I would love more terrain like this, but with like holes cut in the middle, so your placement along it does kind of matter. But maybe that's, you know, line of sight, true line of sight is always kind of like a touchy subject. And here's not like a touchy subject, but it's like, do we try to make that mechanic more or less part of the game? And I haven't been able to find where I feel about it as well. Just kind of gotta line it up, I think. This is going to create some really fun maps, I think. I think we can create some fun labyrinthine maps. Yeah, there's just really, I think just having one of these in a start zone in your casual games will be fun, like if you put in a ruin there. Yeah, I'm excited to see what map builders do with this. It's nice and sturdy, very, you know, this won't break. Very rigid material. Again, a little bit uninteresting visually. I think there would be some ways to spruce it up. I wish they had some texture here in these flat panels. You're just here to see the unpainted flying machines. Oh, they're coming. Here's a flying machine I painted, but unpainted. Oh, we're getting there. I am curious to see how the clear translucence did. Yeah, but interesting stuff there. We have some concrete tiles. Hope your LGS has the unique box soon. Need to prove Ninja's OP. I had a terrible run with them at SaskCon into the future event, but that's because everyone was playing Eisenek, which I think is the worst counter to a Ninja Core. Is just like, oh, you're locked down with Cyberclaw. Oh, your whole entire Ninja army has been attacked in a single turn. And then we have the Toxic Terrain, my new favorite terrain piece. It has a very dark, probably won't glow because it's not charged by blue light. Oh, I should have brought my blue light out and did that. But this is going to be really cool. I think even beyond just concrete tiles and G.I. Joe stuff, like you're making like a spooky Halloween map. Like these tiles will fit perfectly. Just going to build these. No one can stop me. Yeah, these are really cool looking. This is the kind of dimensionality I want on my board. I just love the way these look. They don't look too much like swamp tiles. They stand very unique as their own thing. And I'm hoping map makers aren't scared of their debuff. I really like. I think there's a lot of cool potential for them on the battlefield. Toxic looks great. Wish they were in a non-Joe box too. I agree. I would, if they put this in a little sleeve for $20, $25, I'd buy like 3 of those. Just wishing I could buy 10. Like they're nice. Yeah, it's weird that it's not in even the wall expansion. Like it's something that you have to just buy the battle box for. Yeah, I'm sure a Toxic Terrain pack will come out eventually. And then we have some shadow tiles. I love shadow tiles are getting. It's nice to see, because I mean we need more beneficial terrain. Like we have enough terrain that really makes things hard to play into. But terrain that gives you some sort of benefit is always nice to see. All right, so we have the Orthodontist, my favorite Joe figure shown so far. I mean, just the boldness to go into battle wearing nothing but this, you have to admire. I was reading his bio. I find it so funny that he's an orthodontist. You know, I always felt like those people were, you know, people that work in oral surgery have the most capability of evil. But he's my favorite figure to play. Just his passive movement bonding, his ability to control uniques. He's underrated. I think he's the worst figure to put into a Joe army. But if you just want like different weird builds, especially in kind of limited formats, yeah, he's really great. Put him with bears, like the Ordo, to move him up. You know, I had a really good run with him last OHS season in a weird Thorman build, as he was able to kind of move all the heroes concurrently, even the Kraken he summoned. I'm always looking for ways to include this guy in my army. So he's really nice, as well as aesthetically. He's pretty decent. A big purple cape. You know, it's. I think this will be a more fun one to paint to get some really interesting shadows and lighting on that figure, but not bad. Yeah, I'd say everything here feels just a tad bit overscaled if I had to guess. Toxic tiles next to mushrooms are going to look so good together. Yeah, that's going to be, because before my favorite aesthetic was dungeon, lava, and what's the black one? Concrete, asphalt, and now it might be a new combination. The mushrooms are going to be great. I keep on saying I think it would be nice if they had like different colored mushrooms as OP pricing, like a red mushroom instead of a purple one. But here is Destro. Really, I mean, in terms of pre-paint, it's pretty good. Honestly, I don't think you'll do much better if you painted this yourself. You might be able to get a bit more lighting on some of the parts, but for the most part, this is what you're going to end up looking. Biggest model card art is with Destro. I'll have to look into that. So all I know about G.I. Joe is from the Community episode where they parodied it. So we have Cobra Commander here. It's a pretty fun model. Nice. You have the benefit of having no faces. You do have a lot of trim, like on the model itself. So this is probably actually a harder model to paint if you wanted to do it accurately. I love the dual tone cape is a nice addition. Very interesting posing. I like the guns outward facing. Okay, we got Duke. Again, I don't think the eyes are that bad. At least, I mean, if you're zooming in with the macro lens on your phone, it's going to look off. Like, I have that same problem when I zoom in on my macro lens on my phone for the models I paint. I feel like I can't do that at all. Mirror paint on Destro's head, and that's a good idea. I have some chrome paint I was going to try to break out just to make it really bright and shiny, but I like the mirror paint idea as well. I think this is just Canon colors, but it's just, I'm not liking the colors, but I think that's just what he has, so there's not much you can do with it. It's kind of an ugly shade of yellow for a figure. There he goes. They're durable, you can tell that. But yeah, probably he's okay. He's not, honestly, Duke is he's okay. I don't have much to say about him. I think that's just how he is. He's just your everyday good American guy. Yeah, that episode was so good. Yeah. We have, what's her name? I haven't got to the cards yet. Scarlet, I think? Yeah. Again, these guys kind of have the bright colored tones, and I like that we have a red-haired unit. We really don't have that many red-haired Heroscape units if you look back. Like, I think there's maybe one or two in the entire game. So it's nice to get some more of that. It's going to be tough for me to stick to Canon color schemes when I paint these. Just because it is what it is, but I'm just, I mean, the bad guys have such a cooler color palette. We have baby Niflheim here, otherwise known as Roadblock. I think his eyes are the most noticeable, but even then, not terrible. This will be, I think, one that will really benefit from painting yourself. You can do some fun glow effects on the Canon and really just buff up the contrast. Yeah, I really like this guy. I think just the thing I most appreciate about the Joe sets is they really make the heroes feel powerful but not overpowered. Like there's something that you want to include in your army. Here is, I need to get the cards out. I am forgetting their G.I. Joe names. Here's the bad guy ninja. Storm Shadow, that's it. I really like Storm Shadow's just ability. I like Shadow Tile. I like his Whirlwind Assault with 4 attack is really nice. It's just a little squishy is the only problem. We need a ninja hero that just boost ninja's defense against commons even. Let's go redheads. This is going to be a fun one to paint with white. I think you can really do a lot of fun things with the white cloth just to really kind of make it pop a lot more. We got the insignia showing through, which I always love. I'm not good at freehanding. It's not my skill set. Good pose, really good pose. You feel like he's about to start swarming blades around. How do you think the toxic terrain will look in stop motion animation? Tails, I think you're gonna love this toxic terrain. It's my new favorite terrain type, just aesthetically. Just putting guys on top of it. And especially since you can control light in that setting, you could even give it soft glow effects, some OSL on the figures, or create lighting based off the presumed lighting of the terrain. There's a lot we can do here. Now we have Snake Eyes, who I think, I understand why they designed him so simply, mainly just because everyone's going to play him. I don't know anything about G.I. Joe, and I know about Snake Eyes. He's kind of the Pokemon of G.I. He's the Pikachu of Pokemon. He's just like, oh yeah, that's Snake Eyes. He's cool. So I talked to some people who are really big Joe heads, and they said there's got to be like, this is like an early version of him or something, because Snake Eyes should be like a 300-point character is what they're saying. So maybe we'll get a 2.0 in the future. But this is kind of a more of a refined pose that we're used to seeing. They should have given Storm Shadow his ear that sees ability. Snake Eyes needs his Uzi, though. Yes, give ninjas guns. Okay, so that's all the figures. That's a good assortment. I think this battle box is a lot better than the previous battle box in the sense that I think there is more cohesive armies you can play here. It's very, very clearly these guys against, yeah, these guys. Like, it pairs well. I don't know. I have to check to see how well the points are balanced with each other. And we have our black 24 hexes, which is really nice. This will be, I think, a really great army building tool. It offers no terrain, but it is just aesthetically very nice. I love that we have different 24 hexes. I think there will be like some really fun things you can do with the tiles here, like some really cool patterns. Like imagine this with some mushrooms and some dungeon tiles on it. That's going to look pretty nice. This is a nice crispy piece. Yeah, there's a lot you can do here with the 24 black hexes. I'm glad they're the black hexes and not the concrete, which is probably my least favorite terrain type. We have the rule book, and we have the game content. So we have 2 books for this one. I can't remember if the previous one had it all. I'm not going to go into depth in all the terrain and scenarios listed here, but these are hefty, high-quality books. These aren't like, I'd say, like, they have some heft to them, some weight. I'm definitely going to have to paint Cobra Commander's sword to be that cool blend there. Oh, great. They took new pictures for the rulebook. Like, it's very cohesive. Almost getting to 900 subs. Let's try to break 1,000 this year. That's my goal. This is the 3rd anniversary of the Heroscape channel on the 30th of March. So expect some giveaways. I have here a lot of Joe, in addition to Joe I already bought. So I might be able to give some of this away. I got some Thyraxis I'm looking to give away. It's gonna be a little birthday party. So stay tuned for that as I kind of figure out what I'm doing exactly. But there'll be goodies afloat for sure. Very, very nice set. I think this is, if someone's on the fence about getting the Heroscape, this is a good entry point. Especially if they're familiar with G.I. Joe. You have the dice. I love the blue 20. Eat your heart out, Gilbert. 15. That's the best roll I've ever rolled in Heroscape. A bunch of dice. Okay. It seems like they're slated more towards defense on one roll. Never mind. I just can't roll at all. Yeah, nice. Just 1 hour loop of hearing this. That's all a Scaper needs. Okay, we got the wound markers. Not going to dump those out because they're hard for me to pick up. Here are Destro's glyphs. Again, they're very large font. Not a problem. I'd rather have people who are visually impaired be able to read this better. I really don't know how I feel about Destro. I haven't like theory crafted with him too much on like what's good units to apply the abilities to. Oh, and Glyph of Brandar. You've returned, my son. Okay. Blue OMs, which is very nice. I can't remember if these are a similar shade that we've gotten before or a different hue, but look nice. Great if you're playing a Jandar army. Let's glance at these cards real fast. I talked about them, but I like the back of the glyph cards too. That's a nice upgrade. Okay, Mindbender, like I talked about, really fun unit in the right circumstances. He's not your cheese guy, but anything less than cheese, I mean, 4 defense with range 5, like, he stays around for a while. Especially since he doesn't do enough damage that he, like, becomes our primary target. But especially with a little suggestion, you're able just to bring support. So he's usually pretty, you know, you compare this guy with SI4X, and you're looking at a 5 defense figure that is, you know, able to take control of other people. So pretty good there. Storm Shadow, like I talked about, Mika Connor has even gotten less useful, as, you know, Cobra is just everything she does, but better. Destro, I think there's a lot of army building potential with Destro. I haven't even dived into all of it, especially like VC land. Like, what needs the wounding, what needs the gun, what needs the flying and defense. It's tough to figure out for me. I would love to see some builds with this guy, though. And yeah, he's definitely designed for the Cobra pod. But what other uses remain to be seen. And Snake Eyes, I feel like Snake Eyes is fun. He's easy. He's a person I give to my dad and say, hey, you can play. He has easy abilities to use. I just wish he had a little bit more life or defense. Like, he's really easy to take down. Or like Evasive 2 was just like Evasive like 4, something ridiculous. Duke is... he's a lot of points. And comparatively, I don't know if he ever will justify those points. I don't think a lot of people have experimented with army building around Duke too much. I haven't seen too much talk on him. He requires order marker activations. So I think there's some examples of him, but I think he's trickier to use. But I mean, he hits like a tank. Attack 4, range 6 is pretty interesting. Bonds with heroes. And boosts soldiers' attack. So I think, I mean, he gets pretty spicy if you set him up right. Like, I fear someday someone will bring him with 4th Mass and just figure that out. And that'll be the end of all of us. We're not going to open all the contents. We'll just look at the figures for compare and contrast. Are the zip lines tech glyphs? I don't think they're officially classified as... no, they're not treasure glyphs. These stay on the map in perpetuity. So they're technically not tech glyphs. They are just permanent glyphs based off their red coloring. So once they're placed, they can't be removed, which I think is interesting. Most points unit out of the battle box, right? I believe he is, yes. So he's a pretty... I think he'll go down in Delta. I think Cobra will go up. To me, it seems like Cobra just has more of the advantage than G.I. Joe. But maybe that's just... it's like once you start playing it, you're like, oh wait, G.I. Joe's the broken one. Because I think Cobra Pod is really spicy, but they're like one Zelrig away from being a bad army. Okay. So we have Roadblock, the enemy of all Dumatefs here. Yeah, I really like his unpainted form a lot better. You can see his like facial sculpting show through. Mindbender, Bending Minds. Man, orthodontists are ripped. Like, what do you have to do? Pulling teeth and pulling weights. Duke looks a lot better unpainted. Green shirts plus Captain America is the best new build. That does sound pretty spicy. If we could find events that run Captain America, then yeah, that sounds pretty good. Maybe we'll get like a Captain America-esque figure, which I guess is kind of Duke, but Scarlet looks a lot better unpainted. A lot more you can do with this here. But they're well sculpted. I'm just gonna make all G.I. Joe fans mad and just give him like just a standard skin tone face, just to just to tick off every G.I. Joe fan ever. That would be funny. Yeah, not too much different here. I think the Cobra definitely looked better pre-painted, but I think the G.I. Joe have a lot more potential for a glow up with painting them. This looks pretty nice, I will say though. And Snake Eyes. Yeah, this will be a fun one to do some cool effects too. Okay. Again, you got all the same stuff as the other box, but we don't need to go into that. Let's not talk about that. All right, let's look at some green shirts. This is the painted version here. The unpainted sculpts are usually really good. Yeah, they got a lot of potential here. I'm going to be painting Joe for the next couple weeks on this channel, so strap in. I think the green shirts have probably the worst art out of all the G.I. Joes I've seen so far. I think the Battlecopter is pretty nice. If I give Destro a skin tone face. Okay, so this is pretty nice and crispy. Interestingly, the Battlecopter kind of is at an angle. They're not broken. I've opened up another box and they just kind of have that slight tilt to them. I think, I was looking at the official battle art, I think that's supposed to be hollow, but it looks fine kind of being solid plastic. I imagine those thin beams would break if it was just that way. Yeah, this is a pretty nice and simple, like it, the worst part about this is just storage. Like, how are you going to store 5 of these is the real question. You know, where are you going to put 4 or 5 of these? Green shirts would look better with more armor drab, like Airborne Elite. Yeah, I agree. I try to keep their colors, but kind of just add a bit of highlights and dimensionality to them, and they're looking pretty good. I'm happy with how they're turning out so far. So I think the green shirts can definitely get a glow up. But looking pretty nice. I'm not disappointed in the look of that. And the green shirts themselves. Yeah, the commons are looking a little sloppy. The hair is actually really nice on this unit. Store them on a shelf, yeah. They look more fragile than Zed. I don't know, I've broken a couple Zeds so far. But yeah, I think if this tips off the table and hits concrete, yeah, they got some weak points here. Not concrete approved, but I mean, there's a bit of bend and give here, which is nice. It's more, I think, pushing on them. Hard will, just stress testing, will do it. But I think heights will have things chip off. Yeah, we're yet to see. But overall, I'm excited to have vehicles come into Scape. More vehicles, please. I was saying the blonde hair is really actually nicely done on this. Sometimes blonde hair can get just kind of like yellow instead of kind of off yellow. Nice applications. I think the eyes so far on these look not the best. Yeah, I think they spent less love on the eyes on these guys. But again, if you really care that much about them, just paint over them. We hate to do it, but they're not distracting. I mean, I've played with HeroClix and other games before. Like you're not seeing the eyes from this distance, but if you're right here, now you can notice them. But I'm not too upset about it. All right, This guy has been traumatized by the horrors of war. And I don't know what it is about this model, but she feels really tall. Like her legs feel like longer than they should be. But again, maybe that's just my perception of it. It just feels slightly like unproportioned. But maybe that's just me. Overall, the Battlecopter is definitely the star of the show here. And I think once you get like 2 or 3 squads of these, you won't even notice the little details. Yeah, I do wish they had like a... I know there's supposed to be green shirts in canon. I might paint mine all like in a wintry scheme, just to make them stand out from your standard army men. I don't know if that's G.I. Joe approved, but I do want some army. And then that way I can use them as microcore troopers as well if I need to. Okay. Some guys like long legs. Yeah, redhead and long legs. That's all you need. All right. Legs that reached all the way down to the ground. Not for your 3-year-old. Yeah, my 3-year-old is 5 now, so it's how time flies. All right, let's see here. Yeah, this right here is a bit of an issue, the propeller. Yeah, I really like this. So when you paint these, the hardest part is going to be maintaining this clear plastic. I tried to wiggle it out. It's pretty stuck in there. So what I would recommend is getting some painter's tape or some tape and just closing it tightly around it on the top and bottom, and then priming it. That way, and keeping it on there the entire time you paint. That way you can maintain that clarity when you're all finished. Because if you get some paint on that, it's very, very hard to get off. Lots of fun details. It's very easy model paint. It's really just like 3 or 4 colors. Most of it's gray. Honestly, if you can just prime this thing in silver, you have most of your work done there for you. And here's the gray shirts. Used to be taught it would be 8 in a few months. Jeez. Much like the pigeon of old, time flies. Yeah, she just feels taller than, I don't know. It just feels off to me. But I need a classic model around just to compare. Oh wait, no, the kids play with them. I was like, I have some airborne elite around, but they got moved. But again, it's not an issue. It's not as bad as like the Tanukis or things like that. I think it's like a 10% too tall type of deal. Green shirts seem relatively uninteresting to play with, but again, there might be some hidden potential of them. I wish they had something. I wish, honestly, if I was to make one change, I wish the green shirts had one more range compared to the Cobra Troopers. And that way there was a little bit more play between them. But the Cobra Troopers just having six range, these guys having 5, they're really going to have a hard time, I think. But I mean, free movement and development is always a fun skill to have. This is probably our most, like, kind of powerless squad we have, I think. It's just kind of a passive thing. It doesn't do any boost. There's nothing. I kind of wish they just had, like, some initiative stuff to really help with that. How are the bases? The bases are very nice. I mentioned it before, but they're nice and durable. You can definitely feel that new plastic coming through. So far, I have no warping. Everything's firmly connected, so definitely improvements there. Battlecopter is good, 35 points for a filler. Yeah, not much play actually in a Joe army, I'd say. I think there's some benefits for Joe characters that they can give, but he's really just a filler unit. Really just play him with your your Phoenix Warlord for speedy helicopters. I'm more of a trouble bubble guy myself compared to this guy, but you know, attack of 3 at range. If you can hit some badly placed armies, it can ruin someone's day. Okay, what should I do next here? Let's do trouble bubble. Speak of the bubble. -1 ranges. Yeah, that way it's hard for them to firefight with each other. And I know that, like, the Joes are supposed to be the heroes, and they're pretty strong heroes, but I want to do some battles with them before I cast my judgment, but I think the Joes just need, like, one more unifying piece to tie the army together. So, they couldn't figure out the technology for Zed Nesbit, but we do have, you know, clear flight stands, clear pieces. This doesn't... It does detach, folks. Look at that. That is amazing news. Because that way you don't even have to block it off. You can take it off. You can access everything here. That is cause for celebration. This model is so much more interesting than the copter. Just from an aesthetic standpoint, you have rockets, you have decals, you have booster packs. You know, when they say bad guys are the cooler team, you know, you kind of have to start agreeing with them when you see this. I'm like looking forward to painting this. There's a lot more visually you can do compared to the Battlecopter. Yeah, this is an amazing thing right here. And honestly, it's just a bit easier to store because you don't have the helicopter blades. Like, it's long. It's like a big figure. This part right here will break. Some people's will break over time, I think. But it does seem to be a bit more malleable plastic, which is nice. But this is a really nice figure. Oh, shame that the Kraken's portals are said to be solid, so transparent. That makes me sad. Because you can do a lot of even cool, fun color effects with transparents. I wish they just made the whole model transparent, and that would have been really cool. But, I mean, that's just satisfying right there. More of that Inscape. And the way it fits in so nicely gives me great hope for the Isonex, that their arms will also fit, because it's a really clean fit. It's easy to remove, but it's not like you don't have to force it. Yeah, that's some A+ engineering right there. Oh, this is going to look so cool painted. This is going to be a really fun one to do. And then the Cobra Troopers themselves. Yeah, I love the mask. You don't have to paint a bunch of human faces. Unique posing, you know. They like the crouching in the Joe waves, which is fine. Again, not my favorite, but yeah, a bunch of squads on these on the maps will look really nice. We talked a lot about them, but here's just my thoughts on the abilities. Villainous bonding. You know, a warlord or a profiteer is... I'm just glad these guys aren't soldiers. Can you imagine these guys bonding with Marcus? That would be wild. And boosting them at the same time? No, thank you. So I'm glad they're troopers. I think we have plenty of tech to deal with these guys. The problem is you always have to be aware of them, in a sense. Add 1 to their attack value for each adjacent unique Cobra figure control. Yeah, so they... And it's not heroes, so you get the twins are automatically giving them 2. I just wish the green shirts had 1 more defense. Then they'd be comparable. But the fact that these guys have almost no downsides and are 15 points cheaper is wild. It feels like their point totals are swapped. But again, I don't know what to do with the green shirts. I haven't theory crafted too much about this. And then the Cobra Flight Pod. This is a really fun one. I like this a lot more because I feel like explosion special attacks, you have to make your opponent make harder decisions. Especially, you know, ironically, he's the best thing into the Cobra army. I think currently out right now. I think there might be some room to have like a bunch of these en masse, but I haven't really like played around with the idea too much. Just keep on, you know, have like 10 of these in a weird format, and just kind of like move them up with Mindbender, and just each round just explode with the Cobra Flight Pod. Sounds really fun, but probably not the best use of them. But have Mindbender, then have VNAC Warlord, and then just have like 10 squads of these, and just I want to try it out. I'll try it out one time. I ain't afraid of losing. Heaven knows I'm going to be doing... I've done a lot of that in my time. I'm going to be doing Chris Perkins' cheese tournament this Saturday, and I know I am going to lose a lot. I'm not good at cheese, but I like Chris Perkins, and I've been wanting to play some online skate for a while, so I accept my fate. Okay, these guys are really fun here. So a lot more of a richer blue than I'm. His explosive attack will affect both the enemy and friendly figures. I think that is the biggest difference. I'm Cobra, I don't care. I'm blowing up everyone. The Battlecopter doesn't. Yeah, this is a very unique shade of blue. I honestly would have to like experiment with it just to figure out how to kind of get to this point here. Okay. I like the one with the red eyes. That's a really nice little touch. Makes them look menacing. The logos are embedded on. Don't have to freehand it. Don't have to do decals. Yeah, I'm liking them. And okay, yeah, this is pretty cool. This is a very rich blue. It surprises me. I like that it's just a dull gray instead of like a metallic. Makes me feel more techy. Just an early shout out. Your brother's wife should be delivering a baby the next few days. New nephew's coming. Congrats. That comes off as well. Probably just because it's the same mold, put different. I'm in two separate molds. Yeah, I'm impressed with the Cobra box. I like it a lot more than the green shirt box, for sure. Okay, we still got more stuff to open. We ain't done yet. All right, here we have the Army Painter starter set for our boy Decker here. I will be using these paints and making a tutorial for that. They come in days using just these paints, not my large collection of paints. So if you buy this box, hopefully it acts as a good guide for you. So that's pinned on my to-do list. I believe we have every color needed here. I mentioned this before, but we need white in these starter sets. Just because it gives you so much more flexibility in your paint. You can add a lot more highlights and tones to it. But this is just a great set. If you don't have Decker, it's comparatively priced. You don't have paints. Of course, these aren't exclusive paints, so you can just kind of buy these all individually. But I mean, you get to have the Heroscape logo on them, which is as a collector, is kind of nice. So we have Weathered Sail. This will be used for the shirts. Oh, it comes with some wash, which is very nice to have. I know their last starter set didn't have one, which made it kind of hard to use. We got some blue metal here. I actually don't own this color, which is nice. Some Batwing, that was in the previous set. Oh, Sergeant Drake Drab. I think that's for his back parts. Dry and Bark, Good Brown, Gunmetal. Oh, they have two-tone metal. I think they could have probably gone for, I'll have to check this one out, but I think this might be a little bit too dark for his metallic bits. Some Tunnel Hide for his nose, and some Molten Crustacean for his handles. So we'll definitely see how far we can take this model, and a brush. I mean, not a bad deal for all the paints and a brush. Like you can use these for a couple different things. I'm trying to think what else you can paint with these colors here. I think you could probably paint a lot of the Joe stuff with this because you have, I mean, your basic stuff needed, your browns, your skin tones, your greens. What is my favorite painted figure of all time, or assumingly in this release here? What is my favorite? I would have to say I like the Cobra Bubble, but I don't think it's my favorite because I think there's a lot of room for improvement. I have to say this one. It's just a really good paint job. The colors work really well. It almost looks like they have a little bit of highlighting on it. Like it's nice. It's clean. It's simple. It's really good color palette. Yeah, no, I'd say this is a nice one. And then least favorite is probably Duke. It's not my favorite, but not bad. He's well painted. It's just more color palette choices for him. Yeah, so this is a good set if you need some extra paints. You of course can buy all these from individually as well, and it would be comparably priced. I think you save about 10% this way buying this box if my math is correct. But you also get a little starter brush, which isn't you can't do anything too fancy with it. The only downside of this set, besides the white, is it has no primer. So you will need to buy a primer separately, just because you want the paint to stick to this model. And that's fine. You should probably, if you're looking to get paint, just have a good can of that on hand. But it does make it not like out of the box completely ready. I would have loved for them to have even some brush on primer in the box. Okay, let's see what else we got here. It just keeps on going. All right, so next we have our premium wound markers as the accessory pack for this wave. I mean, these things got some heft to them. I think they're made with the same ABS material. These aren't like little flimsy things. Like they're quite heavy. Yeah, honestly, it'd be kind of cool to put some magnets on both these and just move them around concurrently. I think would be a really great application for these. I think this is more of a, personally, as a vanity thing. If you have 15 bucks in your pocket and you want to get something that's officially released, I mean, I'll say these are very high quality. These are like they got the decal, they got the heft to them, they got the weight. The art, yeah, like they're nice. They look and feel very like I can't express how heavy they are. Surprisingly so. Like they're not getting kicked around the map unless you like intentionally flick it. They move with the character, which is nice. Yeah, so I mean, hey, it doesn't hurt to get these. Yeah, I'm impressed by I can't express how much this weighs. Like it feels like it's tungsten. It's really heavy. So these are nice and durable. But there's other ways to do wounds as well. But I think this is a nifty little solution. I do wish they kind of latched on, but we have different size base. It'd be nice if it just kind of clipped on like that, but then you wouldn't be able to see the text underneath. But overall, I'd take this more as a sign that Renegade's listening and they're trying to figure out a solution to a problem. I know when I play, it's a bit burdensome for some of my newer players. So I think they'll appreciate this even more than bear hats. Okay, and we got one more. We got some dungeons. They feel like casino poker chips. Yeah, like I think even heavier than casino poker chips. Like, because casino poker chips feel just a little bit lighter. Like, I don't have much experience with casinos or poker chips, but they feel like they're solid. Like, for lack of a better word, but they're nifty. I mean, I don't know if they need to be that solid, but it's nice that they are. Okay. I forgot to mention the Army Painter Paint Guide. all Army Painter products come with them. It's a good read if you're just looking for some basics of painting. And let's look at some dungeons. So a fun thing I did with this is I took the backing and scanned it. So now I have Revna cards that I turn into classic looking style cards with the same background. I take all these backgrounds and scan them for future custom releases. So we have like Adgar's lava, I think with a forest head, Ular's. So take those and scan them or find the files and you can make your own custom cards. That's my tidbit. So we have the tiles here. Players can now flip them between their knuckles. Yeah, I like that. See, I did. That's true. Those with like anxious ticks are gonna love the wound markers, I think. Very high quality tiles. Again, stress testing these, and I don't love the single hex way they do this for the 3 hexers. It's not my favorite. I get why they do it. I'm sure it's probably because of mold cost or adaptability, or they can say that there's more tiles in the box, but not my favorite way of doing it. What I typically do, or plan on doing rather, is taking the ones for the 3 hexer and just gluing them together. That way I don't have to find the hexes and align them right. So it looks like fun story about my as I had one set of outcrops from the dungeon set, and when I was experimenting with painting, Heroscape was closed, so I was like, I'm just going to paint over these. I never liked the gray, so I painted mine to be like sand tile. So I don't think I have any official ones to compare and contrast with, unfortunately. These ones actually seem to have a bit of dimensionality to them, a bit of degradation between shadow to light, so they seem a little bit less flat than the dungeon tiles of old, which I appreciate. Single hexers. Yeah, nice and solid. They actually feel a bit more sturdy than times past. And again, more shadow. We are swimming in shadow. You can have an entirely shadow map now, if you so please. Should be kind of fun to play out. We got the 3 hexers. And we have the single hexers that people have been wanting. I don't know much about like competitive map building, but I do know people were complaining about the ratios of these. It seems like a decent amount of 1 hexers to me. Just nice clinking sound. You see my poll for sand terrain expansion set? I did not see that, but I would love to have it. Oh, maybe I did. It depends on when it was released. I have the memory of the goldfish. Fly plastic. Alright, we got some more 24 hexes. So we got dungeon for the common man now. I've said before, but dungeon hexes are just aesthetically the most versatile. You have so many options for building. It matches a lot of the colors a lot better. And it has some minor mechanical benefits for some D&D figures, so nothing bad there. I will not complain about this. I think this is my second favorite terrain expansion so far, just behind Lava. I think Lava is really nice, even if you don't need the 24 hexes. It felt like you just get so much with Lava to do with. Then I think it's up there with the lore walls, with like the build stackable ones, which I really enjoyed. Yeah, this is a decent helping of dungeon terrain here. Like, you buy one set of these, you're pretty set unless you're trying to build competitive maps. And my favorite thing is a quick little, hey, we listen to you bag right here. 2 extra tiles. Boy, that was kind of a bad move. You see my full for sand terrain expansion set. I have to test it for the people tails. I gotta see if it shatters, then you know. But no, it's durable. It's quite bendable. You know, the big cactus landslide blockers and also act like water for powers, and someone suggests the half sand to act like quicksand. I would love quicksand. I think we treat quicksand like a pit trap that's just on the map would be really nice. I think cactuses would be great for like melee swarms. I don't want like desert outcrops. I want some like Moabite type of weird, you know, Utah landscape type of stuff. Really make it kind of interesting with twists and curls and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so dungeon set's really nice. I'm happy with it. Yeah, you can play on it. Don't know. Hopefully he had health insurance. What's Cobra's health insurance like? That's the question. Sad part, better than mine. Yes, quicksand, we need it. Okay, so that's all the unboxing right there. That's a lot of stuff I just went through here. I don't like to shill it, but if you are looking to get any of this stuff, plan on buying your own, I do have an affiliate link in the description. It does help the channel and enable more giveaways and things to happen here. So definitely you can check that out if you are looking to purchase this anyways. And let me take just a quick moment to clean up, and we'll get a little bit of painting in. Probably not super long because I've already been yammering on for an hour, but we can get a couple layers in as I talk about everything I opened. I'm gonna and dental, yeah, they have the built-in orthodontist already, so they're there. I'm gonna put us on standby for just like a minute or two. Put the stuff away. I don't think anyone wants to watch me do that, and I'll be right back. It's me, I've returned. The rumors of my death were greatly exaggerated. All right, switching into painting mode now. Now I can get my chill, cozy voice on as we paint the green shirts. People always say, oh yeah, you're kind of cozy when you paint. I'm like, I kind of am. I don't mean to be. I'm normally kind of not. But painting kind of just puts me in a zen state, so we'll do that. Thank you, Justin. That means a whole bunch to me. Yeah, the problem out there is there's too many good Scape content creators, so it's hard to know which one to support. Okay, so switching into this here, it's hard to believe I'm going to be like doing this again in a couple weeks with the new stuff. Can't keep up, Renegade. I'm not complaining. I mean, there's worse problems to have. Paint mode. Use those dulcet tones. Welcome everybody today to Roguescaper's painting session as we work on the green shirts. Yeah, so we're gonna be working on these guys. You notice I kind of already did some layers because at my core, at my most basic core, I am inherently impatient. So we've kind of moved away from this camera for a bit, but we're gonna try to make this work today. So I used a black green from Pro Acryl as the base, and we're just kind of filling in the colors. We'll definitely be doing more painting tutorials of this in the future, and so stay tuned for that. Alright, so now that we have a nice kind of solid dark green base, we are going to just start kind of sketching in where we want these brighter tones to go on the model, just so we can kind of blend it down a lot more easier. I'm using a mix of that black green and pure green from Pro Acryl just to kind of make a nice brighter color on the top part here. New as opposed to newly new, or the new, or soon to be new. Yeah, I knew what you're talking about. Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff coming, and we're not even done yet. I'm going to have to be on top of painting and video production so that I don't fall behind. So, expect these streams every Thursday. We might have to start streaming 2 days a week to keep up to date. Although I'm not complaining. I reached a point where I was like, I don't really have any more Escape to paint. I'm out of figures. I haven't posted a picture of my 100% completed waves yet, so I'll have to do that eventually. Or good as new. One of those, yeah. And we're just using the tip of our brush just to kind of fill in the areas we want to be brighter. Like I'm trying to use these guys a little bit less wash than I typically use, just to practice some new techniques. So we're just practicing up our standard layering, just to really kind of build up these tones here. And then we're going to use Guardian Green from Army Painter and add just kind of more of a cooler green to the pants, just to make them pop a bit more. I primed these completely in black. I like working with pure black primer just because it fills in the shadows a lot more. I'm going to be forever behind, and I stream twice a week. Yeah. In the comics, the green shirts didn't even know there was a secret G.I. Joe base underneath their army base. You know, they're just expendable. That's need to know stuff right there. I was reading up on their lore a little bit, and I was like, oh wait, these guys aren't even like officially called green shirts. If I was reading it correctly, the community seemed to call them green shirts. But I mean, that's probably the hardest part about designing for Joe, at least for the hero side. It's very, very hero centric. I have a Thyraxis Dragoon that needs to be painted. Yep, they are. People have been asking me for some. So good luck in that journey. It's not a hard model. Well, it is a little bit of a hard model to paint, but it's more just annoying. You know, the crevices. It's not impossible though. At this point, I've painted 15 Thyraxis, so. In a way, I'm very closely entwined with the bug. So red shirts that are green shirts, I think that's where they got their name from. Again, I'm not a G.I. Joe expert. I don't claim to be. That's the hardest part about the G.I. Joe for me, is that I can't speak confidently on what they are. Like, the reason I do Heroscape compared to like other things is I'm very confident in Heroscape. I may not be the best competitively or even, you know, like certain aspects of the game, but someone can ask me some questions about Heroscape and I feel confident responding to them. But like, this is like a whole thing where I'm just like, I don't really know if that's true or not. Like, it's hard for me to judge the powers of G.I. Joe. Just compare it, like, are they good representations of the units, or, you know, like, what are they referencing? It's hard to kind of appreciate that. I'm just a novice painted. I still have yet to put $20 into getting one. Hopefully soon. Yeah, you gotta get the Thyraxis with the infantry coming out. Tails, they are. I don't know if they'll be the best army, but it's a possible army. You painted 2 already? Yeah, good job. They're fun. Just played a few of the G.I. Joe scenarios and the battle box. Pretty fun figures overall. Yeah, I'm excited to try them out. I'm looking forward to having them in the toolkit. What's your favorite Joe figure that you played, or you played with? So we're just using pure green now, and just building up a layer. When you're using layers, you just want to kind of paint slightly over the previously applied layer, but still leave a little bit of the paint remaining behind. I really love Pro Acrylic Green. It is nice and juicy, for lack of a better word. It's just ripe. I just finished my Scion painting tutorial. That was kind of a fast one I had on the back burner for a while. What figure should I paint next? I'm trying to figure out. I have a couple things I'm looking to get done. Should I do some of the new stuff? I have backlogs of old characters to kind of work through. Should I do a classic figure? I think they'd be able to come out with a Sergeant Slaughter G.I. Joe for Heroscape. I remember there was like a rights issue with Sergeant Slaughter because he's based off like a real person. But again, I don't know enough to comment on that. But I thought there was a reason Sergeant Slaughter is like excluded in some ways. The Cobra Vipers were probably my favorite figure. I was always jealous of people's Storm Shadow because I didn't have. Because, okay, so let me get this correct. So G.I. Joe started off as toys. And then became a TV show, and then it became like other multimedia stuff. Is that kind of how it goes? Or was it show first, toys then? Yeah, the WWE wrestler. That's it. Yeah, he was someone real. All right, we're gonna take some jungle green and just really sketch in some highlights here. Now this is kind of a very bright yellow green. We'll definitely be toning this down with some glazes. The TV show is to advertise their toys. It's weird because I see a lot of people into G.I. Joe, but it seems like it's just kind of like there's not a lot of ways to engage. Like if I get really into G.I. Joe, how do I like I engage with it? Is it just kind of a nostalgia at this point, or is there like active comics or like new TV shows in development? Because it seems like a fun property that people like. It just doesn't seem like a lot of ways to do anything about it. Renegade sent out a survey when the G.I. Joe was announced on who people want to see next. I don't know Joe, so don't remember who was on it and didn't vote. I voted for Big Bird, I think, but Sesame Streetscape coming soon. And Jesse Venture, the person that played Sergeant Slaughter, the same actor that with Arnold in the Predator movie. Okay, so there might be some reasons he doesn't show up. I don't know much about Sergeant Slaughter. My dad always called Sergeant Drake Sergeant Slaughter, so I know that name only from there. G.I. Joe was 12-inch figures in the 60s. Oh, it's been in the 60s. Wow, that's a long time. There was an 8-inch G.I. Joe action team in the 70s that fought short aliens. The 80s released the Real American Hero line with Cobra and Duke and Snake Eyes. So this is kind of the 80s G.I. Joe, it seems like that. Or that iteration we're using off. I didn't know it was as old as the 60s, though. It kind of makes sense, though, why it's a little campy. It's got some of that old-style camp to it. Alright. Oh, I do have the official models, at least for color scheme. The comics are still coming out and still being written by Larry Hama. Okay. Well, that's cool. I'll have to check out some of them. Just so I can be more knowledgeable. If for nothing else. Let's get some skin tone going on here. We're going to start off with a umber and build up our skin tones. And okay. Oh, we got my War League pairings up as well. Sorry, I'm easily distracted. All right, so we're using some umber. The best way to work with skin tones is kind of work from browns up to more flesh tones. You, of course, can, I mean, there's other ways to do it, but this creates a lot more of a richer, fuller kind of color, starting with brown, light browns. It was actually genius because there are strict rules about advertising for children, so the cartoon was made to both advertise the toys while not being a commercial, so they could legally break laws. Gotta love it. I think I heard that's why they have like the And now you know, because it had to be kind of somewhat helpful. Is that right? Like the knowing the half the battle is really to keep them kind of kosher with broadcast laws, something like that. Okay, we're just applying this umber to the hand areas. The green shirts are just kind of tough. At least this model is just kind of the angles of it. Like I hate, my least favorite thing to paint is hands holding guns. It's always like, there's always just so many spots you can miss. Fourth Wall is my favorite G.I. Joe. Not now, tight ship. Gotta go, y'all. Until Sunday. Take care. Bye, Tails. It's been a busy couple weeks for us scape tubers out there. So rest well. If anyone here isn't following Tales of Valhalla, definitely give them a follow. Great stuff on their channel. And we're just using a dark umber for the various belts and pouches. I'm just glad that they don't have as much as the pirates. These guys are the ones I'm painting up kind of as the more as showpieces. The rest I'm probably just going to do like speed paint or some very, very fast applications on the other, 3 or 4 squads I have to paint. My general rule of thumb is to not care too much on commons. Like, I don't care if you can't make every common squad perfect. If you do, you'll never get anything done. I like to spend a little bit more time on the heroes of the big units, make them kind of the showstoppers, and just get these guys, do like one nice squad, and then get the rest kind of ready for play. As I have an airbrush, I could probably just prime all these green, put the brown, and put a wash on them, and kind of slap them out pretty fast. But this one I have to be lame and do layers. Multiple layers upon layers. Oh yeah, we have ship terrain coming out later this year. We have Thorman. Thorman's going to be Thorman's going to be a long paint job. I'm going to do him like very, very slow and do all the details. I'm going to work on non-metallic on him. He's going to be... I'm going to spend a long time with Thorman. He just feels like a showstopper unit. And your codename shall be Trouser Snake. Is there anyone in the G.I. Joe set that didn't show up that would be cool to see? Or that I should be excited about? Any big misses? Like, why isn't this guy here? Someone mentioned Sergeant Slaughter. Hawk, Beachhead, and Tunnel Rat. Tunnel Rat, now that sounds fun. I had to look that one up real fast. I like him. Is he kind of like an explosives type of guy? Just judging from his... No, he seems more heavy gunner, but that's pretty cool. I like that model. Hawk is fun. The pants would be fun to paint. Let's see, what was the last one you said? Beachhead. Okay, I think I like Beachhead a lot. That's a fun outfit. That'll be a fun one to work on. And Cobra Squads, Vipers, and Crimson Guard. Okay, so we got some. It's not. It seems like the big ones that people need to have, but we got some. I think there's a bunch of Joes, isn't there? There's just tons of GI Joes and different things. So I'm sure there's tons of possibilities as well. Let's see. Am I painting Thorman on my streams? Yeah, I probably will. He might be a multi kind of week type of deal, as you know, because oftentimes in these streams I kind of work on a guy and just finish him off. He might be one that is just kind of exclusively on stream just to do some more different stuff, or almost exclusively. You know, I try to at least do models that I can kind of teach as I go along. If I'm like just kind of going back and forth for 2 hours on some models, I don't always stream them, just because there's not as much to talk about and I have to kind of pay attention to it. But Thorman would be a good one just to do a longer kind of format, maybe kind of a multi-stream, because I'm really excited that he's showing up. Vipers, Crimson Guard. That was Mutt, his dog junkyard. Yeah, I mean, there's a charm to it. You can't like hate GI Joe. Makes me wish I had a code name. What would my GI Joe code name be? I would be Wet Palette. Might be a fanboy. No, this is helpful. It's given me. I'm excited for people that are really excited for Joe. So you must have been like really excited when they announced it. Should paint them Micah themed. I mean, of course, that's the. I should paint everything Micah. I actually should just throw them away and just have Mika. Why do I even have these other figures? And we're just using this jungle green to really bring out these highlights here. Just adding a bit of stippling motion. Allergies are starting to catch up with me. My nose is starting to close up as we speak. Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, it's fun when you're like a fan of something, and it's not like a big thing, but that thing gets like acknowledged. It almost feels like you specifically. You're like, oh yeah. trying to catch the edge of his little pockets and just things to really. Painting is all about where do I want to draw the line of light to, and so I'm really just trying to focus it on some key areas, the pockets and the straps and stuff like that. I'm Googling G.I. Joe characters with no knowledge of the show, and William the Refrigerator Perry from the Chicago Bears was an honorary Joe, so yeah, we'll take that. I mean, Joe and Heroscape can't be in. Yeah, I mean, I want Star Wars. I know Star Wars is the least possible, but man, if we get Star Wars, I would be. You don't want to play Star Wars Trivia Pursuit with me unless you're on my team. Like that's my my hobby there. I'd be like, oh yeah, but there's already 2 Star Wars mini games, and it's licensed out by other companies. But I mean, Lee at Renegade did work on X-Wing, so there's at least that connection there. So I'm holding out hope, but not much faith that it will exist. That's the one thing where I'm just like, all right, let me tell everyone who this guy is. Oh, they put Max Rebo into Heroscape? Yes. That's how I feel about the Rannoch Vipers. Renegade designed them for me, and allowing others to use them. Yeah, thank you for letting me lease out the Rannochs. No, I'm kind of with you. I was honestly thinking we would never get any classic style Vipers, just because they're kind of a weird design, and I was so happy to get them. I think in 2 of my like concept pitching videos, I had Vipers show up like twice, so I'm happy to see them. We need some Omnicrons though. The fridge came with this nunchuck thing with a steel football on it. Love it. Alright, so we brought the colors up. Now let's bring the shadows down with a bit of glaze. Let's see if we have any glaze medium on hand. In the midst of moving everything around, I probably misplaced it. That's fine, we'll just use water. So glazing is just reducing the overall thickness of your paint so that it appears more transparent. It's a great tool to blend these brighter highlights to make them look like they belong. Are you going to replicate the googly eyes? See, I think eyes just don't match the aesthetic of Scape. Part of me, I'm not the best at eyes, but part of me just wants to paint some just as an homage to them. The problem is I lost my like fine detail brush. I think it got just under something, so I'm not painting them until I find the proper brush to paint them. And I have like, I'm definitely not doing it for the squads. I probably will do it for the heroes, but I have like 20 of these green shirts I'm gonna have to paint. I'm not gonna worry too much about eyes on them. But overall, I've seen some bad pictures, but at least the lot I got, I was fairly happy with them. Like they didn't look too cattywampus to me. Wild Bill also looks like a fun character. I need just a slightly. Let me go with a dark yellow green just for a bit of contrast. When you work with greens, you typically want to work with like a bluish green and work your way to yellow. But since we have two shades of green, we're kind of having to balance them with a bit more different hues. The rare holy grail of G.I. Joe figures is Pimp Daddy Destro. I might need to paint my Destro in that scheme. Okay, that's pretty nice. I'll have to look that up later. Destro's the coolest character in the Joe universe, hands down. Okay. Okay. Inventive almost gave me a death threat when I threatened to paint him with just a, a flesh-colored face. Wild Bill. Also, I vaguely have memory of Wild Bill in like the back of my mind. And we're just adding a bit of higher color. The nice thing about the green shirts is they have very clearly defined kind of folds and lines. So it's easy to know where kind of the light would fall on these things. This is how we're looking so far. We're getting there. Layer by layer. Okay, we're gonna glaze this down a bit with this black green. Just make it blend a bit better. If you honestly have some speed paint with a bit of speed paint medium is a great, great blending tool. You can kind of take these layers and really make them look nice and smooth. Just because of how transparent and thin and how easily it flows. And we're just making sure we hit all the undersides and parts I kind of miss. I would be able to fly the helicopter, go yeehaw, just like shooting fish in a barrel. Okay, I'm sold. Well, looking into the the battlecopter schemes, it seems like the battlecopter is more based off an actual named Joe hero, like Ace, I think it is. So I might paint one of my battlecopters in that design. It seems to have more of bluish colors and stuff like that. And I like the scheme a bit more than all the green we're using. Which is the one with the mustache? I think it's... It's not this one, it's the other one. No, it is this one. Just look at the colors here. So the art has them have different shade pants, but the model has them have the same color clothes. Oh. Alright, so we're going to use some Pro Krill Shadow Flesh, which is probably my favorite flesh tone to use. It's a very rich tone. And very versatile. Yeah, that brown layer we applied is really just for the deepest shadows. We'll use gunmetal since I have it on hand here from Army Painter. When you're painting guns, it sometimes helps to prime it black and then just try to kind of keep the black line separate between the individual pieces. It makes it appear a bit more dynamic. We'll let this guy sit for a second, and we'll touch up this guy a little bit. Okay. Working in a single line fashion, just touching up these details. Okay. Get this umber all applied to the leather parts of the model. Probably should have done this part before I layered up his clothing. That way if I overbrush, I don't have to redo it. Like that, so. But it's alright. Out of curiosity, do you remember the first mini I painted? So, you have a couple where you just try on paint. I had some skeletons I just tried because I wanted to have some skeletons in my Heroscape army. But the first model I sat down and painted was a young green dragon from the Pathfinder box set that I painted over. I might be able to... Does he exist somewhere? I probably could find him. I also painted the first models I painted were the Arena of the Planeswalker, Magic the Gathering Heroscape figure type things. So I painted those guys up, just practicing. Did I flock that one base? Yeah, I did it just to see if I liked how I liked it looking. That's a little bit of dimensionality to it. For this point on, for at least my bases moving forward, I'm not doing the brown anymore. I just like black bases better. They make the model look a lot better. So we're doing black bases and flocking is the name of the game now. I'm honestly not the best at flocking and basting. That's something I want to get a little better at. But yeah, it was the Arena of the Planeswalker stuff, some GW skeletons. I painted some Warhammer early on in the day. I didn't assemble them. I just bought like cheap models that were already assembled and painted them. I cut my teeth though painting HeroQuest when they did the HasLab over the pandemic. I painted all the not the HasLab but the Kickstarter for HeroQuest. I painted a lot of the figures and I learned a whole bunch doing that because they weren't painted very well. But it was the pandemic, so I was able to just paint for a long time and develop some crucial skills, I'd say. You're painting. It was a tough time because not only was it a pandemic, I also just gave birth to twins, so I was up a whole bunch in the night, and once I'm kind of awake, I can't go back to sleep. So I would be painting 8-9 hours a day type of deal. I wish I discovered this when I was younger, though. I would love an extra 10 years of experience doing this type of stuff. I was always like intimidated by the concept of painting. I played so much Heroscape that I never needed to paint. Once the game kind of went out, though, I was really into making customs at the time, like my own personal customs. And this was before 3D printing technology. So you really have to find models, and all the good like historical models were all unpainted. So it was kind of just a skill I picked out of necessity to have some cool customs for my table. Yeah, the Planeswalker minis are a good way to practice, actually. They're still in the box and painted. Started with a Reaper, learned to paint kit the straight to escape after that. Yeah, Reapers, I did a lot of Reaper. They're just so cheap, and the models are really good, and they're just a great way to develop some fundamentals. I'll have to do like a showcase someday, like showing my evolution. That'd be kind of fun as a painter. Just because I still have a lot of the original models I painted. I keep them. Well, I had them nearby. I kind of rearranged things so they get kind of. Let's see if I have something worth talking about without me having to get up for too long. Let me see real fast here, because now I'm curious. Okay, so I found some early things I painted here. Like, this is one of the first models I painted. Yeah, so like this. I know I have my first model around here somewhere. I just don't know where I have put it at. I'll have to look for it. I have a lot of models and a lot of things on display, so I move things frequently. This is one of the first models I was really proud of painting. Like, I painted this and I was like, oh, I'm so happy with how this turned out. I painted a lot of Rune Wars type of stuff. it's a good model to feel confident on. I was like trying to paint white at the time, which I think is kind of wild at stage I was painting it. So I was really proud of that one. This was another model I was really proud of painting, a Paylor. So that was kind of mid-development. Had some early HeroQuest models I was working on. So yeah, it's been a journey. I'm not going to say it's been an overnight thing, and I still have a lot of learning to do. You know, I'm trying to kind of transition from my current stage to more of the next steps. That's kind of my current ambitions, to kind of go more, because I'd say I'm not like pro painter. I'm not pro painter level. I'm kind of like circling around wanting to really get to that level, but it just takes so long to paint that kind of stuff, and you have to have a lot more understanding of light, which is probably my weakest area as a painter, is understanding how light works, how it reflects and absorbs. But no, that would be a fun video to make. I would like to explore that some more. I gotta find. I know I have my dragon somewhere, unless I decided I wouldn't have thrown it away. Huh? I'll find it. I'll find it. Oh, I know where it's at. It's in my dragon drawer. Okay, let me get some jungle green going on this guy here. Or Sundered Sea Green if you're using the Heroscape paint set. Like I said, this is kind of an example of just kind of going up and going down. Kind of deciding how bright I wanted to make it. The important thing to remember about highlights is that if everything is a highlight, then absolutely nothing is a highlight. Your highlight should be small and nominal. A single line can have greater impact than, you know, anything else you apply. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm bringing it up and seeing how I like it, and I kind of go back down and kind of find that level. Just add some more garden green to the pants here. It's 11 p.m. Need to get some sleep. You know what? It is kind of late. I need to kind of sign off too. Yeah, thank you. I was kind of caught up in the flow of it. I probably should be signing off here pretty soon. We'll get this last layer on. We'll call it a night. Thanks everyone for tuning in and to my unboxing and some painting tonight. It's been a fun stream. Okay, we got some pretty good progress on this guy. I'm happy with where he's going. We got some more highlights, stuff to apply, but we got the hardest and most boring part, the base layers done. All right, so I think we're gonna close up shop here and bid adieu. Thanks all for the Joe input, for the feedback, and for just giving me company as I put endless layers on these green shirts. Unboxing to immediately painting a true legend. Yeah, you got to cut out the middle process. It's nice I had a couple extra pre-primed, which is nice. So, yeah, but yeah, you can purchase that stuff through my affiliate link or really anywhere that sells Heroscape. And I look forward to seeing everyone's own version of these paint shops. It's going to be a fun time, have some new stuff to work on. Stay tuned for a more detailed, closer up look at the models, as I'll be releasing that video. And we got some other stuff going to cook it up. I'm trying to figure out what I want to work on next. Got some things off the to list. Kind of feeling some classicscape. Maybe some Morrow. Maybe a Morrow video will be my next big one. I'm not sure, but also we just have a bunch of new stuff to look at and talk over. And